what are some like absolutely like do nots or huge errors that people make when they do go down the self-funding route? I mean, taking a second mortgage on the house. I mean, you can get as specific as you want as far as like things you've seen either go really wrong or maybe, you've done incorrectly yourself.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I've been in, my darkest place was with my first company, I kept taking out these 1 year things on your credit card, no interest for 1 year. You had to pay the 2 or 3%, right? But when I needed some money, I could get $8,000 or $10,000 or $13,000 just by opening up a new credit card and so I was good for a year. I found that to be easier than going to a bank. I talk about a venture capital firm wouldn't touch me. An angel investor, like a respectable one who actually had money, didn't want to fund me. A bank, why would a bank's not going to give a business loan to a company without a business? So that's out. So now you're looking at things, and we had no mortgage at the time, so there was no second mortgage. We had no first mortgage. Just pile up some credit cards before the credit card companies cut you off. So I did at one point have $55,000 credit card debt, and it was okay for a while. It was zero interest, but then the juice starts ticking and going the other way on you. But that said, you don't actually have a lot of good choices. I thought that was a better option than the alternative. The biggest mistake that I see, and that we've had to battle with internally with my teams with the self-funding, I say with the founders, is that nobody else cares that you're self-funded. So you might be competing with, and we've competed with other software companies who have raised money, and they have a $10 million round, and we have my $10,000 credit card. A customer or user, they don't care. Like, they don't feel bad for me because we've self-funded. So we can't just say, well, we're bootstrapped. On our podcast here in the trust tree, it's a badge of honor. Out on the street, nobody cares. So the biggest mistake, I think, is acting like you're self-funded. Like, you can't be that poor. You can't act poor. You can't act like you're cutting corners. You can't act like you're not moving fast enough because you don't have the resources. So you still got to project like you're moving, like you're funded. Nobody actually cares where the money's coming from, but you got to kind of project that, like, hey, we're real and we're going. So I think having that level of urgency and not being sort of that half-started startup is the big thing with the bootstrap, where people will they bootstrap something forever, and it's never that profitable, and it never loses that much money, and just kind of like ticks along. And a lot of times that's not the point. Like, you're trying to get to cruising altitude on this stuff, and it does require some firepower up front. However you fund it, whatever you got to do to get the money, we're not going to ask questions on that. So I think, get the money, do what you have to do, be smart about it, but you also don't act like a loser. Don't act like you've got nothing. Otherwise, people sense that, and then they don't want to do business with you. You're not going to be around in 6 months. You can't pay your credit card.
Yeah.